World reacts. Princess Leonor marries HRH Christian in Denmark. Imagine the royal bells of Copenhagen echoing across the city, the cold Danish air alive with cheers, flashes, and an emotion so thick it could be felt from Madrid to Melbourne. Everyone expected a beautiful royal wedding, but no one expected this. The moment Princess Leonor of Spain walked down that aisle beside Crown Prince Christian of Denmark, the world didn't just witness a marriage, it witnessed history folding itself into a living fairy tale. But here's the twist. Behind those glittering smiles and waving flags, behind the perfectly orchestrated ceremony watched by millions, there was something deeper, a quiet, world-changing shift in two monarchies that, for centuries, had walked parallel paths. And now, those paths have finally crossed. So how did a love story whispered about in European tabloids turn into one of the most talked about global events of the decade? And why does this union carry more weight than any royal celebration we've seen in recent memory? Let's take you right into the heart of it. The morning began like a scene straight out of a dream. The winter light spilling over the Copenhagen skyline, the streets lined with royal supporters waving both the Danish and Spanish flags. Reporters stood shoulder to shoulder outside Amalienborg Palace, their voices barely audible over the ringing of church bells. As the royal motorcade glided through the capital, silence fell. Then, as Leonor stepped out, poised, radiant, and confident, the crowd erupted. It wasn't just the sight of a young woman in love. It was the image of Spain's future queen stepping into a global stage unlike any other. For many Spaniards, it was both pride and pain, pride in her grace, and pain in the realization that she was marrying into another nation's crown. For Denmark, it was pure celebration, the day their beloved prince finally took a bride worthy of his lineage. And yet, beneath the romance, questions simmered. Was this marriage purely love, or the rebirth of Europe's royal alliances? For decades, monarchies have stood more as symbols than as powerhouses. But this wedding, analysts say, might just change that. By uniting Spain's youthful, modern monarchy with Denmark's deeply traditional royal house, Leonor and Christian have created a bridge, one that could reshape how Europe sees its royal future. Inside the cathedral, the atmosphere was electric. Rows of world leaders, royal family members, and dignitaries filled the pews. Queen Letizia sat with quiet emotion, her eyes fixed on her daughter, while King Felipe maintained his stately composure, but those who know him well said he blinked back tears as Leonor took Christian's hand. Observers described the ceremony as simple, yet profound. A mix of Spanish solemnity and Danish warmth. The vows, spoken in both Spanish and Danish, drew gasps when Leonor, in perfect Danish, said, "I vow to stand beside you, in light and in storm, as your equal, your partner, your home." It was a line that instantly trended across social media. From London to Lisbon, from Madrid to Melbourne, the footage of that moment flooded screens. Viewers were moved not just by the beauty of the ceremony, but by what it represented: unity, modern love, and royal tradition gracefully stepping into the future. Still, every story has its hidden corners. Some royal insiders hinted at tensions, that not everyone in Spain's royal circle approved of this match. Rumors suggest that Queen Letizia, ever protective of her daughter, wanted to ensure Leonor's independence wouldn't be overshadowed by Denmark's more traditional expectations. Others whispered that members of Christian's extended family worried that Leonor's fame might outshine Denmark's future queen consort status. Yet, despite the whispers, nothing could dim the power of the moment when they emerged from the cathedral, hand in hand, smiles radiant, the cheers of thousands washing over them. The crowd's chant, "Leonor, Christian," rose like music. Cameras caught every detail, the train of Leonor's gown shimmering under the cold northern sun, the gentle nods exchanged between King Felipe and Queen Margrethe, the tears of the Spanish delegation watching their princess step into a new world. Later, at the royal banquet, the emotion deepened. In a historic toast, King Felipe addressed his daughter directly. "Leonor," he said, "you were born to lead, not to follow. Today, as you join another royal house, remember, you carry not just our name, but our values." The words echoed across Europe, firm, loving, unmistakably historic. Christian responded in kind. His toast, simple and heartfelt, silenced the room. From this day, Denmark gains more than a princess. We gain a future queen who embodies courage, dignity, and grace. Spain, thank you for trusting us with your most precious jewel. It wasn't just a wedding, it was a diplomatic symphony. And as the music swelled, the cameras caught moments that will be replayed for decades. Leonor dancing with her father, the Spanish and Danish flags flying side by side, and the crowd chanting beneath the illuminated palace. But the global reaction, that's what truly made this event historic. Across Europe, news outlets hailed it as the union of the century. In Spain, headlines called it a marriage of love and legacy. Danish commentators described it as a bridge between two thrones. Meanwhile, royal enthusiasts online couldn't stop dissecting every detail, from the design of Leonor's gown, rumored to be inspired by her great-grandmother Queen Victoria Eugenie, to the symbolic pearls sewn into her veil representing peace and unity. Yet, amid all the glamour, people kept returning to one idea: how two young royals, raised in vastly different traditions, found a way to balance duty and heart. When the footage aired later that evening, one scene struck viewers most deeply: Leonor, turning toward Christian on the palace balcony, whispering something only he could hear, and the way he smiled, softly, as the crowd roared below. That image alone became the emblem of the entire celebration. Analysts are already calling this union the beginning of a new royal generation, one less about ceremony and more about sincerity. A Europe where crowns still shine, but hearts led. As the fireworks lit up Copenhagen's night sky, Spain watched from afar, united in pride and nostalgia. Because even though Leonor now belongs to two nations, she will forever remain the daughter of Spain, the princess who carried her country's future across borders and turned duty into destiny. And so, as the cameras fade and the music quiets, the question remains: what comes next for Princess Leonor and Prince Christian? Will their marriage redefine the future of European monarchies, or simply remind the world that, sometimes, even in royal bloodlines, love finds its way beyond protocol? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: this day, this union, this moment, will be remembered as the day Europe fell silent in awe, watching history and love walk down the same aisle. The world didn't just witness a royal wedding. It witnessed a turning point, a fairy tale written not by tradition, but by two hearts brave enough to rewrite history together.